All right, who's first?
You've been preaching some patience with the offense. It looked like today they kind of hit their stride, especially Joe.
I thought it was a little better operation than it has been, and that's good to see. Hopefully, when I go back and look at it, it's good play by them and not crappy play by the defense. So hopefully, it's good play by both sides, and they're winning. So don't know the answer to that yet.
Juwan James, injury.
Oh, he's got a little lower leg bruise, I believe, right now. Not as of this point, nothing to be worried about.
How about Dakota Watson?
Same thing. He's got a lower leg injury. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about, but he needed it yesterday and today.
Coach, it looks like Drew Lock's getting more second-team reps maybe than earlier in training camp. Is there a plan to start working them in there with the second group more and more?
Yeah, I mean, that was our plan the whole way, is to eventually let him work with the two some. Him and Kevin, alternate a little bit. So.
The guys rotating in at linebacker for Todd Davis. What have you seen from them, and any of them stand out at this point to you?
They've all had their moments, both good and bad. They obviously play a little better when they're in there with Josie, because he can kind of serve as their caddy a little bit. And, so that's always important to remember when you're evaluating players, who they in there with. That's why we got to always change those guys, even without injuries. Because, guys, you don't lose, for example, both safeties in one game on the same play. So the guy that goes in, he's got to get used to playing with that other safety. Same thing with inside linebackers and offensive line. Anybody that has to work with somebody close to them, it's always important to get that intermixed in there. And I think those guys have had their moments, good and bad.
Coach, you talked about this yesterday with the snaps, but you were moving the ball and had a couple bad ones again. I know Connor's a converted guy. Is there thinking about anything you can do there besides just giving him more reps?
You hit it. We got to keep practicing, because we can have 9 other offensive players on offense having the best down of their life. If we can't get the snap, it's wasted. So that's both snap and quarterback. Sometimes it's the quarterback too. I thought it was a little better today in comparison to yesterday, where we had a kind of a epidemic of them yesterday. Today we kind of had a few of them, but we can't have any.
When will you begin to give the starters significantly more snaps?
In practice?
Yeah.
They've been getting significant snaps.
So more, you said yesterday it was like 37% was the high.
Yeah.
When will they really take over?
They'll keep going on that ratio, but the starters get more than the 2s and the 3s.
Will Bud Howard be out a little bit with it? Bud Howard with
Yeah, he'll be out a little while, so you probably don't need to ask me about him for a couple weeks.
Leary, is it still precautionary?
Yeah, we made the decision late today that he probably needed today or tomorrow off, so we gave him today off, and he'll practice tomorrow.
Coach, do you have a philosophy on starting periods over? Do you not
Yeah.
like it? Do you care?
No, we did it here. I forget what day it was now, but it was early. It wasn't the first or second day. I think it was the first day in pads. Yeah, we started it over. And one time I was with a coach who, in an early period, besides just starting the period over because it was sloppy, he started the whole practice over. Went back to stretch, individual. So maybe I'll do that one of these days. Just how'd you guess?
Would the CBA let you though?
We can have him out here for 3 hours. Okay.
the officials sufficiently explain all the rules to your team last night? Everybody satisfied?
I think so. There's always gray area. But yeah, they did a good job. I love having these guys here. Walt and his guys are good guys to work with. Walt's been a very experienced official in the league, and I think he's one of the better referees in the league. And I wish I'd like to have them every day. We use them. They're in our meetings. I have them get in front of the guys ask them questions. I think it's a benefit.
How do you look at that the ability to challenge the interference? Both, how do you look at that as a coach? And are you worried on Hail Marys? Every Hail Mary's now going to be subject to review?
No, that's why they if you followed it there, for a while, the coaches were going to be able to challenge inside of 2. Now it's no longer that. That comes from the replay booth, and they won't challenge something that's not blatant. So, yeah, I mean, the rule is what it is, and what everybody seems to forget or gets glossed over is they did not increase the coaches' challenges. You still only have 2. So, and if you're right on 2, you get a third. And that play that happened in New Orleans, which caused all this, just to use New Orleans as the example, if Sean Payton, that same exact play happens at the same exact time this year, okay, if he's out of timeouts or out of challenges, that play is going to stand again just like it did in the past. So, so challenges, the use of challenges may even go down because nobody wants to get caught late in the fourth quarter when they've been hosed on a call or no call to be out of them. So it'll be interesting. But we do play the first game of this season next Thursday. I'm going to throw the first challenge flag for OPI or DPI.
How do you manage going live? Coach, was that the first time
Yes.
you went live? How do you manage that, trying to keep guys healthy, but also getting ready to play real football?
Well, our interior play, I'd like to think, is pretty damn close to game-like all the time. When you do add the element of tackling, it's a little bit more. But I don't think it totally affects the O-line, D-line. It affects them in that they got to go tackle somebody. But you can't do it all the time. In all my years in the NFL, I've only been one time where there was kind of regular tackling going on, like one period a day. But everywhere else there wasn't. And I've been with a lot of tough teams that you don't need to tackle all the time out here. And plus in goal line, it's close quarters. And it's almost hard to practice that if you want tempo and you don't want one side to win, obviously, to not be live, So we're not going to do it a lot.
When do you tell your quarterbacks the order for next Thursday?
Either Sunday or Monday.
Do you feel like today was the best day from the offense on the field?
According to you guys, it has been. It probably was.
Right.
What can some of the young guys get up to tomorrow? A different environment, more people there, a little more energy?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we'll have a decent crowd, 50,000 or so maybe. Is that doable? What's the weather for tomorrow?
I don't think it'll be 50.
Like this? Nice. 50. Broncos Nation's got to come out. But it'd be good for those young guys, especially some of these guys that have been at small schools, where they don't see a crowd or a stadium that big. It can be a little imposing. Hopefully it helps them for next Thursday and the rest of preseason and moving forward. But, yeah, I think there's benefit to it. That's why we did it. We didn't have to do it. They asked me if I wanted to do it. And I said, yeah, let's do it.
Did you do it in part because of the fans? You seem to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I mean, I like that part of it. I do think the fans can come out, but also did it for us just to go down there, new staff, players, just, get in an NFL stadium. And that's a pretty nice stadium down there, pretty imposing. I think it's good.
What can you tell us about Nick Williams? More with the ones.
Yeah, I mean, we've run low at receivers and particularly at the slot. We're not low enough to ask Stokely if he could still play, but you know what? He did a good job. He's a guy that doesn't meet your height, weight, speed, things that all the personnel people like, but looks like a pretty damn football player to me out there. Maybe all he needed was an opportunity, and he's got one now. Let's see.
Discuss Stokely's number.
All right.